let's go. Let's start with Kyle introducing himself.
Why me, Brett? Okay. Is there anything in particular you want us to say, or just like our name, what color we play, or what?
First off, Kyle, let's
Like, how do you want to do this?
like we're not
like
we haven't started yet, so you don't have to be perfect. You can just I want you to start off the team talks. So and you need to be like centered so they can actually see your face. You're like halfway in the camera.
I can't. I'm short, Trey. I'm short.
You have the best mic and the best camera setup. Let's get you started off. Starting us off.
I think Corey can give me a run for my money. Okay.
I just have a better camera because mine actually does 4K. That's the only difference.
Yeah, mine does not.
Also, your mic looks cooler. Mine's bland. It's black, but it works.
Got that red glow. All right. Are we good? All right.
So-
My name's Kyle. Yeah, that's about it. I play yellow. Kind of it.
Let's go, John. Go ahead and introduce yourself, John.
I'm Tax Legend, John Lamontanero. Chilling, loving my red. Just got some new Wolfang fish. What's up?
Oh,
Bro,
yeah.
those aren't winners. You're not good enough.
I said them. No, I'm not gonna buy them again. Fuck.
Do it.
Let's go, Bobby.
And we just got demonetized.
What's going on, guys? Name's Bobby Stocks. Basically play only Broly, but I guess this set we're going Red Sin, so see what happens.
Yes, sir.
They're the
Corey.
same
Bobby just copies every deck I play.
deck. Hey, I'm Corey, and I am the resident blue player.
Curtis.
Hey, I'm Curtis Robertson. I don't really have a color I play. I just play trolley stuff. So I'll play a lot of Genetically, a lot of Raditz. I guess I'm known for being a Piccolo person. If there's anything Piccolo, play it or try to make it work.
Hey, yo, Joe.
Hey, I recently back into the game. I've played a little bit of everything, but I guess mostly I'm known for red and black. I played the hell out of Red Brawly. I played Vegex until the deck was no longer able to be played. Teardrops down my side of my face, and a little bit of red blue. Mainly an aggro player. Can't stand control, but I'll play it if I have to. If it's a really good deck, I'll play something control-y. And yeah, glad to be a part of the team, man. Glad Trey decided to bring me back. I started looking at the game again. What was it, man? When I was messaging you about some stuff, maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I got a little discouraged because I was like, man, everything that looks like I would want to play it looks like it's about to get dumped on by Zenkai, and I wasn't liking any of the Zenkai stuff I saw, so I kind of just stepped away for a week or two and started looking back and saw Red Sin and just like Red Brawly 2.0 flash before my eyes, and I got really excited and started messing with it and been really enjoying it. That's about it.
And Dustin.
My name is Dustin. Play a little bit of everything, but more or less been playing a lot of yellow last couple sets with yellow trunks. Just now started to get back into playing red again, so we'll see where that goes.
And obviously me. I play my favorite characters. We can talk about those if you guys want to, but it's mainly Cooler Mill and on blue and yellow. I don't really touch green or black, but everybody knows that at this point.
He
Let's
can't
play
play a
this-
deck without Bean.
That's not true. I top Nats with mono yellow Icarus.
Yeet.
That's also because Icarus was a really powerful deck too, and some people
Icarus
played
was-
Bean in it.
Icarus was broken. People played Bean in it and did well. So
Cards in hand, 16.
I miss.
no, it
Icarus.
was more like 20.
But yeah,
miss
we'll go ahead and get
Ironically-
started on the first topic.
My
So
biggest top was with a yellow deck, ironically, but it was a Brouhaha yellow, and it was basically just Mira, Bad Ring, Kill You deck. But it's kind of funny because I don't really like yellow, but my biggest top was with a yellow deck.
Oh, look at that
Yes,
guy
sir.
playing set 3 meta.
Was that Broly you were playing?
No, it was the starter deck, yellow Goku.
Oh, yeah.
What was
You're
that?
playing-
Yeah, it was the one in Virginia that I topped. I was
It was swap.
the top
Yeah.
32 was literally 30 SS3 Gokus, Hirudegarn, and me, and that was the top 32.
Yep.
That
I remember that because I played against you at that event.
What was that guy's name that used to do commentary, like Scott something, that had like the sides of his head were shaved and he kind of had a like a mullet. He used to be really big in the game back during like the first few sets, but I worked on the deck a little bit with him. I can't remember his name to save my life. Kind of like he was like really laughy, goofy kind of guy.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He did commentary with Dusty like through all the first couple of sets.
Oh, Scotch.
Scotch, yeah, Scotch. Yeah, me and Scotch were talking about this like crazy deck where you just played like there was a yellow card that was plus 15 in double strike. We just played 4 of those, 4 Champas, 4 Bad Rings, and Mira, and like the whole idea was you I think the leader had critical, or there was a way to get it. God, it's been so long I can't remember. But
No, you had the extra card to give crit.
Yeah, and so like everyone was going to 4 because it was SS3 format. So everyone would always be on 4, and you just you had all the searchers and the Gotens to search, and you would just literally swing in, dump your hand for a billion double strike crit, and then just Mira Champa bad ring them for the other 2.
Yep.
It was the easiest wins I ever had because everyone in the room was on SS3, and you just destroyed them.
Yeah, they took themselves.
But Scotch, that was it.
Yeah, Scotch. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into that first topic. So we got Zenkai. It's a breath of fresh air. I want everybody to kind of give their own, point or input on how it's going to make the game grow and come back to fruition, because I feel as if there are a lot more people returning to the game that played before, and Yu-Gi-Oh players are looking at it because the format for Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of crazy right now and not diverse at all. So not a lot of people are going to come back to the game. Who wants to start?
Carl.
Start with John, since he wanted to be funny.
Hey, this is John. Yeah.
I mean, it's for me. I know you guys know I play a lot on tap, so it's been fun. There's been a lot of players back on tap too. There's been like 4,000 players on the past few weeks. It's crazy, but yeah, it's fun. It's a new the Zenkai. The whole Zenkai thing is great. I love it. It's like breath of fresh air, like you guys said. I don't know. I love it. I think I'm playing the best deck right now, despite what you guys think. Red Gogeta. I think it takes advantage of that Zenkai strategy so well.
How do you feel about the Gogeta deck in general?
I think it's the best deck, hands down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bobby?
Well, I'm just gonna be extremely biased here. I think Zenkai brings a lot to the table, especially for newer players and older players. Being able to add in this new mechanic that they have has given a lot of older players, like they said, the breath of fresh air, a new mechanic to play and abuse. But I'm definitely right now, I'm enjoying it. They did not release a new Broly, so I'm kind of upset about that. But Red Sin, I'm just going to go ahead and say that I think it's going to be one of the best decks for a little while. And the only reason why I say for a little while is because people in this game have a really good time dealing with aggro as the set goes on. There's going to be something that people are going to start sideboarding. There's going to be techs that they're going to have to be able to deal with the things that Sin does. So, I mean, I'm just going to enjoy it while I can, to be honest.
Kyle.
I guess as one of the resident Yellow players, it's nice. Yellow gets a kind of pseudo buff, whether you want to play, the Goku starter deck leader or you want to stick with Trunks Vegeta. Yellow got some pretty good some Z cards along with a just generic boss monster that you can kind of put in any yellow deck as long as you can find the space for the engine. But it's nice. It's really nice to go back to kind of where the game started with the combo step and having to really, really focus on that resource management of, when to combo, when not to combo, when to put stuff in your Z energy, when to not put stuff in your Z energy. So it's nice to kind of go back to that kind of aspect of everything. But yeah, I mean, as a yellow player, it's nice to get a Poutine that can attack and can do stupid stuff and just play more of that yellow control kind of strategy that people absolutely hate because they can't play the game. So,
Curtis.
I think that having new mechanics is cool because we're getting to a place right now where like people are playing the same 3 or 4 things again unless you're gonna move the game with bans and stuff like that. So new cards come out, that's neat. I'll take a look at some of them. Can they upgrade what I'm already been playing? Yes or no? Add them in? Not, maybe not. And then I'm just playing the same things that I've been playing anyway. So that gets kind of boring. Having this whole new thing to learn and then build your deck around is a huge win for the game, I think.
Corey.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, and I kind of agree with that, like red is probably the strongest out of all of this, but I don't think all the other colors are out. Like for me, last set, like I think blue was either gamma or bust. Like a few people managed to like sneak in some wins with SS3 and baby, but they were playing like baby's like a completely different strategy than blue. Like baby's like a hard control, you're gonna drive the game out, we're going long. There wasn't really much in the way of mid-range, and the Zenkai deck like helped with that. Like now I have like big threats that I can pull in there. I have a board wipe that I can pull out of the Zenkai deck, and to echo kind of like what Kyle mentioned, I love how the whole Z mechanic was genius. Now you have to whether, hey, do I floodgate? Well, then I can't get to my Z stuff. Well, do I go to the combo step? Now we're gonna fight in the combo step. So it's adding more options to the game, and I'm always all for more options. So it's been very good. Like I've enjoyed this way more than the Unison Warrior block so far.
And Joe, what we got? Unless Joe's MIA. Joe may be MIA. Dustin?
Everybody's made some good points and stuff already. In my opinion, it's just as far as competitive wise, I'm looking at some of the old decks. A couple of the new decks, Sin, Gogeta are obviously going to be good. It'd be interesting to see where blue goes. We'll see. I like their Z cards and stuff like that. The sale's really good. And then also with Zenkai, it kind of lets you can kind of start looking at some like older decks and stuff because Zenkai lets you do some cheeky things and stuff like that. So I'm kind of exploring some older leaders and looking to see what I can do.
That's fair. And while Joe was probably MIA, I just want to make sure that everybody knows if you're new and you're wanting to play and learn, you need to show up to your local stores and play. Let the community know that you guys want to actually get better. Because the only way to get better at this game is to actually play the game. This is not... You can play on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro and just test play hands against the AI. This is not one of those games. You can't play against the tutorial on your phone over and over for DBS to play. So get you a starter deck if you're new. Pick a color. Buy all 4 starter decks, play with them against your friends that are new as well. Get support cards from the set. A lot of the good support cards for the starter decks are commons or rares. For example, the Pan deck, you do need this Pan. She's a rare. This is like maybe $1. And then this Ape, this card is really powerful. It is a common. I would give you copies of these cards if you were in my area, like most players would. We open so many packs, and we have so much stuff we don't need. If you could see all the bulk that I've had over the years, I would give all of you if you needed them. But you just get these starter decks, crack them. There's good exclusives. They're worth opening. Online, if you look, they're all $20 a piece. The lowest price for any of those starter decks is $20 online, and you can get them at your local gaming stores for $12. There are promos you can pull from the packs that are worth more than the starter deck. crack those starter decks, get yourself 2 of each, take them to your local stores, get you and your buddies into the game, because this game is cool to collect for you guys that are a collector. I don't know, a lot of collectors are like on the fence, but this is the best time for you guys to get into, because I think you can build a semi-competitive deck for under $60 right now. Like you can take 2 of those green Gotenks starter decks, get yourself like 3 Dormant Potential Unleashed, and you have a deck. Like, you literally have a solid, I will go to locals and I will get at least 2 wins out of 4 rounds. Like, and that is good for a brand new player, and because this game is not very easy on someone that doesn't want to play. If you don't want to play, you're not going to get any better. So.
Also, don't forget about the fact that the starter decks come with really good reprints too. Like, they come with the bottom deck draw 2 super combos, and most of them come with the free counterplays for unisons, which are key pieces of every deck.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I was surprised when I looked at the starter decks and I saw the token negates.
Oh, I forgot.
Those were going to get out of hand in price if they didn't get a reprint, because they're just annoying to get, because that Battle Evolution booster set was not at every store. The new Trunk starter deck, they're just going to continue to give that leader support as much as they can. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they love blue, and they love to give blue good cards. So, Sensubin is still at 4. I don't know how. We're in set 18. But yeah.
That's true. I don't understand how Sensubin has survived.
Well, I'd like to definitely reiterate, guys, that this game, like Trey said, if you're sitting at home and you're watching these YouTube videos and you're watching all these games play and things of that nature, I promise you, Untap is nothing like IRL.
No.
It's a very different game. I think Llama up there can definitely attest to that. He's played thousands upon thousands of Untap games, and I guarantee you it's completely different when you sit down across from another person.
Like, I've had people that literally, they'll be like, I've been doing so well with this deck, and this is for any game, any card game. I've been doing so well online. I'm playing on Dueling Book for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I watch them play in real life. I'm like, bro, you haven't play tested. You've tested against some Joe Schmo playing his tier 5 deck that doesn't know how to play the game either, and you won, and you felt like you were where you needed to be. That is not what you need to do.
Playing against a 4th-rate duelist with a 3rd-rate deck. I mean, come on.
Come on, Yugi.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to point out is, as far as how well your personal skill will take you in a card game, Dragon Ball is by far the most skill-intensive game. If you are very skilled at this game, you will do very well. And the only way, unfortunately, to get better is actually to play the game. And because everyone has different play styles, you'll see people do weird things that make no sense to you, but they end up beating you. I've had that happen too many times.
Yep.
Shout out to our local players, at our locals, that when we actually do get a good locals, our players came a long way by just playing against me. This is not an attest to me being like the best, like craziest person in the world playing this game, but I played this game since before it even came out. So I've played countless games, and then when you have somebody that's just starting and like someone willing enough, like myself, to tell them when they're messing up, I will literally be like, please put that back in your hand. You've messed up. Like, I don't want to win because you just comboed out of my first swing. You sure you want to combo that card? Like, that type of thing, that thing will go a long way, playing against someone who wants you to get better. You can play against one of your buddies for funsies and have a lot of casual fun with this game. Cool. But if you want to get better, you guys need to show each other when you're doing something wrong. Me and Claudio back in the day, shout out to Claudio, that was like my apprentice, man. I had that man into like a well-oiled machine. There was not a single player that, besides me and him, I felt like that would beat us in a Soul Striker Mirror match at that time frame, at the end of that format during 2.5, because we played against each other so much. We knew what any of our opponents were going to do or try. And we could trick them into like believing they could out-combo us. That type of stuff was very prevalent back then. Now you got so many more things to worry about than someone trying to out-combo you by just taking all your life. No one does that anymore. That is where 3 years later. So there's so many things you got to learn.
Definitely something that I preach to our locals or Mind Trades locals. Something that I preach to a lot of the new guys, and especially some of the new guys that he's talking about. I told them day one, like, if you're going to get into this game and try to go to a competitive aspect of this game, don't prepare to go into this game and be the best. Don't prepare to go into this game and expect you're going to win every game and you've got the best deck, because there's always somebody out there that has played more, play tested more, and things of that nature. So when you lose, don't take such a, like, if you lose, like, don't let it hit you so hard to where it's like, well, this game sucks, because I see a lot of new players play that, especially a lot of players that are at our locals that were in the Magic community. Whenever they came over to the Dragon Ball, whenever the game first started, I think I came in the game around set 1, 2, somewhere around that time, because OG Green Broly. Anyways, but I definitely know that some of the Magic players, whenever they were coming in, they weren't able to keep up with the mechanics because of how similar but how different these two games are, and they weren't winning as much. And I'm pretty sure they had the mindset of, hey, I'm going to come in here because I played Magic, and I'm a clean house, son. and then they quit because they're not winning to what they thought, or they weren't up to where they thought they would be. So I definitely would not let it discourage you. I mean, like a lot of the other guys in here said, definitely practice on Untapped, practice IRL. I'm pretty sure that if you comment in any of the videos on the channel, one of us will see it, and we will end up messaging you back and giving you tips, tricks, anything of that nature to help you learn and get better. So yeah.
Make sure to.
You definitely were the Lord and Savior of the Soul Coup era, the Soul Striker Goku. He couldn't be beat with that deck.
It's just one of those times where like if I could play test now like I used to against Claudio, I think that I would have won Nats like last year, because I lost to myself in top 8 to Marquise by playing into a really bad card that no one else was playing. But like I had him, like, there was no way he was beating me in Nature's Mirror. Like, and I just lost some time. But like, if I were to actually test, it would be so much better. I don't test anymore like I used to. Like, John, have I ever been on Untype and played a game? You would know.
I don't even know what your name is on Untype.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, and John would know. Like, if you don't test, you do fall behind slightly when it comes. It's different if I'm playing the same strat, but it's just changed slightly. I can probably play it still. Like I could not catch myself playing a green deck or a black deck right now. I could not touch those because I'm not familiar with it enough. Yeah. Joe knows. Joe was playing at our locals a few times. He would come out far away. He would drive like an hour and a half, 2 hours just to like play in the shop championships because Joe wanted to get better. So Joe would come over there and he'd play against me, Bobby, and EJ, and all the guys that and he wanted to get better. He was hungry. So just like Clark at locals. Shout out to Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Clark has been hungry lately. Clark's been really hungry lately, and he's been coming out wanting to play as much as he can. If I could go play against Clark, I'd play against Clark all day, but I don't live within the vicinity. But if I did, I would be out there playtesting against him all the time because he's hungry to get better. Like, he was sending me his Vegex list earlier. He'll send me his deck list he's making on Deck Planet. And make sure you guys use that tool for DBS Deck Planet because it's useful. You just can look up all the cards. You have no excuse. You have like an encyclopedia in front of you. Like,
yeah, I remember it was the last time when you were on that Soul Cube deck, I was playing the Mecha, I think, back at the time, and I had won like every shop championship. I went up to Raleigh and dusted those guys, and I was like, "Who's this Trey Faircloth kid? I've heard about him playing some Yu-Gi-Oh, but he don't know nothing about Super." And I got the floor cleaned. He absolutely wiped me up with Striker.
Like, back then, that was truly skillful format. That was the format. There was no beating somebody that was better than you. Like, if someone was more like knowledgeable about the format, the only way you caught them slipping is if they like happened to clump on like 4 super combos and then you drew none. Like, that was your only way to like really get cleaned up like that.
So, Trey, and everybody can answer. So as we're talking about kind of like new players and best practices for new players getting into the game and everything, one thing that I've heard from a lot of new players and why some new players don't kind of stick with the game or they get discouraged and all that good jazz, and it's an aspect of this game that you have to learn is there's a lot of skills on these cards that there may not be a lot of text, but there's a lot of keywords to learn. There's a lot of mechanics to learn. There's a lot of, different things that you kind of have to learn. And coming from like another game like Magic or whatever, like probably the biggest mechanic you have to learn in Magic is the stack and how the stack works. But in Dragon Ball, there's, you got the combo step, you've got,
counter timing windows.
Yeah, counter timing windows, how keywords work, how certain keywords resolve, when autos resolve, that kind of thing. And that can be very discouraging to some players because it's a very complicated aspect. So what would your guys kind of solution to that be, as, veteran players, and, we're all veteran players here, just kind of helping a new player, because you can't just tell a new player, well, then go read the rule book. You know what I mean? Like just read the rule book front to cover, because I don't know about y'all, but first time I ever read the rule book front to back was when the new Zenkai stuff came out, and that's because I was just looking at the stuff that changed.
So I will note this for everybody that's new to getting into this game and wants to learn. The new starter decks are amazing. They come with a new field setup. If you flip one of those things, I can't remember if it's the field setup or the other piece of paper that comes inside of the starter deck. It has a brand new keyword sheet. It has every single keyword and what it does. It also has a step by step on how the game cycles through phases, and it gives you so much details. Like my friend was about to, I had him get 2 of these starter decks at the shop the night, because at Unbound I have 2 left of red one, and I told him that was whenever he wanted to get into the game, I said, get 2 of those red starter decks and I will help you. And
something else,
he was about to throw away one of those papers. He thought he got 2 playmats, right? He thought he got 2 playmats. I said, don't throw that away. One of those literally has every keyword on it, every keyword, and it has actually Q&A, the little answers to it. It has frequently answered questions. It has those things. So those new starter decks are amazing, and each one of them has that. It doesn't matter if you get the red, blue, yellow, or green one.
Again, to piggyback on what we said earlier, definitely one of the biggest ways for you to come into this game and learn how these things work and these mechanics work, show up to locals. If you find out your local game store, your local card store, and whatever place holds tournaments, and you find out whatever their tournaments are, show up to the tournament. Not only are you a butt in a seat, which helps the store and it helps that community grow, but also it gives you the play testing experience that we talked about earlier, and it also gives you the ability to learn from the veteran players in your area about how this game works. I promise you, there have been plenty of players that have come to our locals and had no idea what the game is, and next thing you know, that player left with an entire deck because we have a bunch of commons and uncommons, like Trey said earlier, where we just give stuff away because we don't need it. And you leave with a deck, you leave with a good understanding of the game, and then you come back and you put your skills to the test. I mean, show up to locals is the best way I can answer that question.
So I know a lot of you guys don't know me as well, but I also play a couple other games. I'm on a sponsored team for Flesh and Blood, and I've played a lot of high stakes Yu-Gi-Oh. The biggest thing I preach, and I preach this in almost every card game, but I think it's especially important in Super, is sequencing. So many people get this idea that aggro is just unga bunga, we're gonna beat your face in. All I gotta do is turn my card sideways, just like the conception from Red Deck wins if you're drawing Magic parallels. But sequencing is so important. The difference in a good aggro player that knows how to sequence their deck and a aggro player that's just turning stuff sideways is night and day. So I think for any new players or people who are trying to get better at the game in general, to work on your sequencing. And I've noticed even just recently coming back to the game with Sin that it's really important in Sin. Like how you sequence your turns and how you play your stuff out is so important, because one thing out of place and the whole cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I think another aspect of the game that's vastly different than any other game that exists is the combo system. Learning how to combo effectively, how to not waste cards when you're comboing, when to use your super combos, when not to use your super combos. All depends on a vast array of things, and usually that's just through experience. But ideally, you don't want to over combo. You want to combo out just enough. You want to save your super combos until you absolutely need to use them. So, like, learning how to combo effectively will also take you leaps and bounds in this game, versus someone who doesn't know how to when to combo correctly and when to actually not combo and just take the hit. That's a very big decision.
In a way that you can, that can really help is, like, people say, like, being a student of a game is, the way to win, and that's true. If you're a student of the game and you just take the time to learn how the game works, and if you have downtime or whatever, looking up strategy series or gameplay series or gameplay videos on YouTube, whoever's channel you want to look at, then you're going to get better, because you're going to be able to take what you're learning through that and through your study with it, and you're going to be able to put it into practice when you go to locals. And then if you're doing something wrong, then they can help you and tweak it and then go from there. So it's just doing the little stuff allows you to become competitively better at this game. The more and more little things you do better, the bigger the overall picture you're going to get better at. So
I want to hear from Mr. Vo down there, Dustin, to answer Mr. Carlton's question. Basically, I just want to know your take on how to get the brand new people get into the game right now. What is your best recommendation for them, just right off the gate, outside of what we've already stated? I know you have something.
As far as new players go and stuff like that, and taking the time to play and all those things like that, but like you were saying, as far as giving them cards and things like that will always help. But we also need to be supportive of the new players and stuff like that, and be willing to teach them. We can't get frustrated when they make mistakes, and we can't get frustrated when they take too long to learn things and stuff like that. I think that's a big thing about growing our own local communities and stuff. It's something that we've been doing at our locals. We've had a lot of new players, a lot of influx of new players recently. So just being patient with them and helping out as much as we can and teaching them things that we've learned over the years.
That was one of the things that got me into the game to begin with. Is some of the players that are all locals. We had one player that was really good at it, and I think the onus is on new players to be welcoming and stewards of the community, like Dustin said. But when I started playing, one of the players had a really good habit of explaining all of his actions because he knew I was new. So that's a good way to start to get introduced to the timing and the sequence of things, is he's telling me what he's doing each time and why he's doing it. And then as the weeks went on, after calling out actions, or just not afterwards, planning for folks interested in it. Well, here's why I did that, and here's why it worked, and this is how you stop it. And I think for the new player, that's going to be great, because there's so much to learn as you're starting out. That everything's going to be interesting as you're picking it up. And then for the experienced player, we want to keep in mind is, as we're teaching the new players how to stop our techniques, and they get better, then you've got to figure out ways to stop what you taught them, and then you get yourself better too. So there's also an element for veteran players. The more that I'm teaching, the more I'm reinforcing my own skills.
Now, John, I need your input. You're the last one. I know you got some takes. You test a lot, and I know you have started. You're muted right now, but we need you to unmute so you can talk.
I'm back. But yeah, I've been teaching players. I've been teaching a lot of players lately on tap a lot how to play. The keyword skills, sequencing, and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't really go to locals very much. I don't have a local scene really anymore in Vegas. So I have to rely on online play and going to regional.
So yeah, so John's basically saying that if you guys want to test and you don't have anybody to test with, you can test online. We have the AirFairGaming Discord. You guys can come in and play on any of our tables. There are multiple other Discords you can join. You got the Hermit style Discord that's very active for play testing. You have the PPG Discord. You have the actual traditional Dragon Ball Super card game like official server for where they have regionals and stuff like that. And like a lot of other hosts for regionals have Discords to play test in. So you guys can join there and ask like, hey, I want to play. Anybody want to play? And there's always going to be somebody wanting to play. And you have people from other countries that they're awake. So they're like, oh, I got somebody I can play with. I'm bored. And you never know somebody's work schedule. They'll be up at like the eerie times at night. Bobby will sit there and be playing on untap at 5 in the morning.
Players from Italy.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to in the Airfair Gaming channel, like there's a command that you can add that literally all of us get. All of the team members of Airfair Gaming get a notification when that command is introduced into the chat. So one of us will see it, and if we're if we're not doing anything, we can pick it up and play with you guys or answer any questions that you may have or anything like that. Don't be afraid to use that command. So it's it's there for you guys and it's there for us. So
yeah, if you're not in the Discord already and you want the Discord link, because it expires if I send it a certain way, you can always email me at airfairgaming@gmail.com. I can just slide you a Discord link and you guys can tune in to what we have there. We don't have any like crazy exclusive Patreon content or nothing like that right now, but in the near future we might be able to do something like that if we can get on a consistent schedule. Corey, our right-hand man over here, he's got access to the YouTube now, so he's going to be uploading some more gameplay in the near future. And a lot of new players like the gameplay, and especially I had a lot of people tell me they really liked how Curtis, I think it was you and Corey were playing, and you did the walkthrough. Was it you guys, right?
It was
Curtis
Curtis
versus
and
U7?
Yeah,
you're muted
Curtis.
right now,
Corey, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, but yeah, you guys played, and you walked through every play basically. Even though you were kind of giving away what you're about to do, a lot of players were like really entertained by the fact you were walking through all of your plays. Because I think we're one of the only channels that's done something like that. A lot of people don't like to give away what they're about to do to their opponents. But if you're both trying to learn and get better, it's something you can do to like grow as a player.
Yeah. It was Curtis and Josh Wyman were the ones playing that match.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but we've also got the Team Talk will definitely come out before the videos, but we've got a couple other commentary videos coming up soon that will do some of the newer stuff and the Z deck stuff, so we'll get some of that.
Yeah.
I think like what we were talking about earlier with what Zenkai has done for the game, I think it really opened like a ton of doors, right? Because there's a lot of in this game especially, I've noticed that like in some games, like right now, say with Yu-Gi-Oh, like there's like everyone's playing one of two decks basically, right? They're playing the best decks. And in Dragon Ball, like people don't necessarily not play the best deck, but people play the decks they like. And there's so many heroes, that have been out now, and some of them have just gotten power crept. But like with Zenkai, all they have to do is print an uncommon leader card, and that can change the whole deck now. So I think they, from a game standpoint and a business standpoint, it was a beautiful thing because now like all these decks that kind of got left behind, like they print one Z leader in the decks back on the map now. And like we've only seen like the very, very first Z cards. Like black only has 2 Z cards, right? Like there's only a couple for each color. So like what that does, it really reminds me of Force the Will. That was a game that I like very near and dear to my heart, but the company just ran it into the ground. But that was when one of the times that they tried to reboot the game, they did something really similar to this with something called the Rune deck. and it was basically like having a second hand like this, like something that you had access to, at any time in the game, and it gives you like a toolbox, and like I think it adds a lot to like the depth of the game because you can't really depend on the attrition, part of the game anymore. Like say a hand destruction deck, like if I'm playing against a green hand destruction deck and I'm on a red deck, they could take every card in my hand and I can drop a Vegeta and still, kill them out of nowhere. Like just your leader and a Z card, as long as you, played the game correctly and stacked some stuff in your Z energy. Now you have that ability to just pop something out of the Z deck. So I think that's a really good thing because I know like a lot of players were really frustrated with hand destruction. Like before I got out of the game a while back, that was one of the biggest like complaints I heard with people was like, I guess it was the cell surge, and some of those just like dedicated hand destruction decks were really just frustrating to play against. And now you have this like second hand that you can access at any time, on top of the ability to like make any leader relevant again by printing a Z leader. And I think that's really cool. It was one of the things that kind of brought me back. I like the dynamic of it, and I just want to see where they take it because we're 18 sets in now, and the game's still going. So I think they've got a lot of potential to do some really cool and exciting new things with this. Yeah.
Well, to like piggyback on what Joe said, so it also adds another depth in other ways as well. So if you know that everybody, like in a small Z format, has access to a one drop, like specific one, and you know what it does, you have to be mindful that those cards are in their Z extra deck. For example, right. You cannot go wide anymore against blue. You can't. Like, it was already hard to do so in the first play because
now they can just drop the cell, I think, and it wipes the board.
They pay 3 energy to get a board wipe, a critical, and essentially a dual attack critical that gains triple strike when it restands. Like, it's
or like, like the most annoying thing in the world was when like some of these control or hand destruction decks would just starve you and leave you at like 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 life. Like, can't count on that anymore. Right? You know what I mean? Everybody can play at least one Vegeta to self awaken. And stuff like that. So yeah, it really does.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
and as soon as you go down to 5, right? As soon as you got down to 5, you have access to token negate. So you cannot rely on like cheeky stuff anymore. You really have to interact during the combo step. Like you can probably get away with decking somebody out with maybe once out of every 5 games now, but that's kind of like really rough when everybody has access to like so many good cards. Like
like Oolong, like the closest I've come to losing a game was like I had answered everything on my opponent's board, and they're tapped out or like swung all their guys, and he had 1 energy up. I'm like, this guy can't do anything, and all of a sudden he just goes, I'll play a Oolong. He's 45k. And I was just like, oh shit, and like I knew what the card did, but I mean, like we're getting used to it, and I was just like, wow, like at any point that one yellow energy gets them like as big a beater as they have on board, and
Mirror,
bro.
Mirror.
Oh yeah, I know the mirror. Oolong. That's what I was thinking about. Was like, I kept hearing everybody talk about this mirror Oolong combo, but I mean, even when you do it with a 40k on board, that's still pretty damn big,
Yeah. Or even a 30k, like even a 30k beater's still really good if you're at 1. Like that's 6 cards you have to burn to not die.
I just got really lucky because I'm smart and I play the Rage Shenron. I've seen some decks not playing. That card is busted. For anyone else playing Shenron, the free negate, it does not matter that you have to be Z Awakened to use it because you want to be Z Awakened. That is the best card in the deck. It is a blocker, it's a free negate, and it has critical. Like I don't understand how anybody could ever think that card is bad. But I'll shut up.
Me and Bobby know how good that card is.
Well, thank God, because I've heard people say, "Oh, this is like the worst card in the deck," or they're not playing it at all. So like I don't think Yuha had it in his deck at all.
Nope. I'm gonna be
he also had his deck stuck in his backpack for some reason.
Yeah, he told everybody it was stolen, and I felt so bad.
Yeah, I did.
Well, at the time he thought it was stolen.
Yeah.
He found it later.
Yeah, I'll be one of those guys. I thought the Rage Symbol wasn't good, but that's also because I misread the Z Leader and thought it cost an energy to awaken with the Z Leader. And I did that twice in like test plays. And then Frank was like, just did it when he was tapped. I'm like, you can't do that. He's like, it doesn't cost energy. And I read it. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. So read your
That's
cards.
crazy.
But anyways, to kind of piggyback on the whole like Z mechanic and the expanding of the game and all that good jazz. So I've been hearing a lot of talk about like where the Z, like I know we just got it and everything, but you know this is a card game and people speculate. So where do we think that the Z mechanic goes from here? Like I've heard people say that, oh well, they're gonna expand the Z deck and they're gonna make the Z deck bigger and all that good jazz. And you know I think that's a cool idea. As we get more cards, allow us to play more cards in our Z deck. And like how do you think that the Z mechanic evolves, like the unison mechanic evolved, where you know they gave us Empower and then they gave us Spirit Boost, and even though that's a bad keyword, you know it still allowed us to do some tricky stuff with it and all that good jazz.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Trey.
I'm assuming Bandai is gonna do what Bandai always does. They make it harder on us, and they don't want it to be easy. So they don't want you to be able to play 3 copies of Oolong and 3 copies of this card and 3 copies of that card, 3 copies of that card. They want you to be like, wow, I really have to make a decision when I'm building my deck now. Do I really need 2 cells? Can I get away with only playing 1? And basically, you have to assume your opponent's playing more than one of this card. Like we were talking about earlier, you have to play around what your opponent has in their Z extra deck now. You see a green deck, you know they have that Frieza in their Z extra deck. If they have a red deck, you know they have Vegeta and their Z extra deck. So like
I think it could be really dangerous to have more than 7 in the Z deck, to be honest. Like really dangerous. I think that like right now, I think what'll change the most coming up is like Trey was saying, like how many of every card. Because like right now there's only a few good ones, so like you know, every red deck is going to be playing like either a 4-2 split of somehow a Vegeta and Goku, and then like their Z leader. Or if they don't have a Z leader, they're probably playing like one of the the take a life guy. So, but I think going over 7 could be super dangerous. Like with Force of Will, it was only 5 cards in the in that like extra deck that they had, and that was still like borderline insane. Like if you were playing a deck that didn't have access to that, you were just done.
Definitely, this is speculation here, but I think in the way that it's going to go is just because Bandai and just how they've been doing things, don't be surprised if counters come out of the Z deck.
Yeah,
that would be
one thing I think
disgusting.
Yeah, I would be not surprised if they throw like a counterplay
or something like that. Yeah. Like, there's going to be something in the Z deck, and it would not surprise me if it would have
to be like a battle card. It would have to still be a battle.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like the other card negate, or also just like they did Unison, there might be an SCR coming out of the Z deck too. You never know.
What?
Like,
yeah, that could be an option.
Yeah.
I think the other brilliant thing they did was not having combo power on them, because some of these cards might be like ridiculously broken if you could just combo them away and bring another one out. You know, like I think that was really
the Self Awakener would be the most busted card if you could combo that thing off.
Exactly. Like
you could never.
I could probably play
my. Oh my God.
I could play maybe could play my Mass Stand deck if it was.
But I definitely like. I don't think whenever Unisons came out, you know, I think there was a couple people speculating it, but we got a Unison SCR, didn't we? So I don't be surprised if in the near future, in the next 3 sets, that there's going to be a SCR coming out of a Z deck. So that's going to be one more spot that you have to put in, and it also takes up an SCR slot in your deck. So it's
or freeze it up. I think what they're actually going to do is I think they're going to make more cards that either do things when you have X number of Z energy, or you pay your Z energy into these battle cards to do things to make you think, do you want to play a Z card or do you want to play this battle card? Or maybe
like
even
the
extra
Goku.
Cards.
Like the green, like the yellow Goku, where you have to essentially decide, do I want to trigger Goku's effect, or do I want to keep that Z energy in there in order to do in order to play another Z battle card or Z leader on my turn?
Yeah,
right?
and I think they want to do that because they want to incentivize going back to the combo step. Because right now the game has been very floodgate heavy. Like unless you're a specific type of deck, you just want to end your opponent's turn. But now we're getting encouraged to go back to the combo step, and I think that's a good direction to push. And I hope they push more towards fighting it out in the combo step than just negate your turns over. I'll floodgate your turns over.
When that expansion comes out, Red Blue Launch might just be that jam, and I think that deck thrives in the combo step better than anything.
Already good, okay?
I think people forget about Bulma too. Like no one's talking about it, but Bulma was also really good at this, like just being a deck and having Z energy.
Yeah, I mean, you block, you combo something, you put your super combo, you put your super combo back in the drop with your Z battle card or your Z whatever, and then you activate Videl and put it back in your hand. Like,
yeah. So I have an idea, and I think you guys would enjoy it. We're gonna cut this episode here,